Okay, welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast where Michael is super grumpy. I'm Mason Knight, joined here with Cash Krause and Michael Volk. How you guys doing tonight? Well, I mean, how are you doing, Cash?
I'm doing good.
You doing well?
Michael, why are you so grumpy?
Do I dare ask? Yeah.
Well, it's Mason's fault. He picked this fucking movie.
Whoa!
Put me in a sad, depressed
Throwing
mood.
shade, yeah. He does not
It's
have
a very, very sad movie.
You know, it is a very sad movie, but it's also a very good movie.
It is, and an eye-opening movie as well.
Yes.
Open your eyes, huh?
It did. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about it. What's this movie called, this mystery movie?
Last Flag Flying,
Yes.
starring Steve Carell.
I always want to say last flag standing.
I know, don't you want to say that?
Last flag.
Yeah.
It's kind of a tongue twister.
Last Flag Flying.
This was your last flag flying. Last flag. Yeah, this was your pick this week.
It was my pick.
Mason.
Yep.
And what a bummer.
It was. It was a bit of a bummer, yes. I've been wanting to watch this movie forever, though. I saw the premise for it. Steve Carell, Lawrence Fishburne, and Bryan Cranston star in this film.
Yeah.
And, amazing cast.
I'll see anything with those. You put those guys in a room, I'll pay money to see them just mingle around.
Yeah. And, you know, we talked about Ryan Reynolds on the podcast last time and how you guys say he kind of does the same roles. But one thing about Steve Carell, man, is this guy can do anything, and he does it.
It blows me away.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were about to compare him to...
No, he does it perfectly. Like, he's
so what you're saying
good
he's
in any
the
role.
opposite of Ryan Reynolds.
Well, I love Ryan Reynolds, so I'm kind of biased there, but according to you guys, you know how you're saying the same thing over and over. But
Yes. No, he's a great
Steve
actor
Carell,
is what
he's
you're
just,
saying.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's amazing. He's fantastic.
It's amazing how to watch comedians go from, comedy to dramas.
Yeah.
But it
So
almost
effectively.
always translates very well over comedy to drama. But he's great. Bryan Cranston, though.
God.
Bryan Cranston's great. He's great in fucking everything.
Yes. And he really carried the dialogue of this film.
He did,
Yeah.
for sure. I thought he was a highlight.
Yes. You know what I loved about this movie, too, is these are totally different characters than I've seen all these guys play.
Yeah.
It's totally different.
Lawrence Fishburne to
Yeah.
me. He always kind of plays like a preacher /
Yeah,
Morpheus.
Yeah.
/ Morpheus.
Yeah. Man, we were gonna do. You swapped one Lawrence Fishburne movie for another.
For another,
one.
I did.
Isn't
Yeah.
that crazy.
I didn't even realize that either
Lateral
until you just
move.
brought that up.
Yeah.
Because we were originally going to do The Matrix, and then
Yeah.
it falls off of Hulu. So
Which I can't believe that. Yeah.
yeah, that was too bad.
Got
Because I
me
still
so-
have never
yeah.
seen The Matrix.
You got
That
me
would have
excited
been
that
such
we
a
were
fun movie to watch.
It would have been for sure. Instead, you just brought this fucking bummer to us.
You know me, guys. I love these drama movies that make me cry, and I did cry in this like a baby.
Really?
Yeah, I did. I tried not to, but it was 3 a.m, dude. These military movies, they get me.
Oh,
They get me. Everyone
trust
has
me.
those movies that get you.
This
The
movie got
military
me, too.
movies got me. Whoa.
bunch of pussies.
I know. Yeah.
Hey, it was
I'll admit it, dude. I get
sad,
emotional. I get emotional.
I did not get emotional watching this movie, but I could see it. I could see the emotion.
Yeah.
I could see it there, but I was surprised by this movie. If we're just going to talk about what we thought, I thought it was really good too. Yeah, I liked it a lot, but this was a movie that I knew about it, but I didn't really have any interest to watch. But it definitely takes a different spin on the kind of patriotism and pride.
Way different.
And that's what and I had
Took a different route than I expected,
and I
too.
had no idea that Richard Linklater was the director. No idea.
Neither did I until I looked it
And
up.
if I knew that, I would have watched it a long
Right.
time ago, because I think we're all really big Richard Linklater fans.
Yeah.
I would say so, yes.
Yeah. But this movie had a lot more plot in it than most Richard Linklater fans.
Yeah.
It
or
did.
most movies do.
And isn't it amazing, too, how he can direct some of the funniest movies, in our opinion, like Everybody Wants Some, Dazed
Yeah.
and Confused, and then he can do a movie like this and show it in a complete different light.
He does. He has a wide range of.
He does.
But
Yeah, he did School of Rock too. For
Yeah,
Christ's
School of
sake.
Rock, which is one of my favorite movies of all time.
I know it's so and he's also done some heavy drama movie with Boyhood and
Right.
yeah, I mean movies like that. And then he does like a movie like this where it's it's still kind of lighthearted or whatever.
Yeah. And he has that ability as a director to bounce back and forth.
Oh yeah,
you know?
absolutely, for sure, yeah. And he has the ability to the comedy that he does is it just seems really real, like a bunch of guys just joking with their friends.
Yeah.
Or whatever. That's always, he really does that really well, of just getting like these guys and kind of, I don't know if this is how they really act, but it just seems like that's how they would really act in real life, where they're just, you know, a group of guys that were in the army together or whatever. That's what it resonated with me from.
This film definitely needed that humor to show up every now and then, because it was very, very dark and depressing, but it has little small glimpse of where I was laughing and smiling, because these guys just had that banter that every group of guys has together. Like probably my favorite scene of the whole movie is when they're all sitting in the back of the train car and joking around, talking about old times and stuff.
That was one of the highlights of this film.
Yeah, that scene was amazing to me.
When they're talking about the whorehouse.
Yeah, when they were talking about the whorehouse. Disneyland, as you like
Disneyland,
yeah.
They did a good job of telling the story, too, of everything that happened over in Vietnam when they were there.
Well, they did a really good job of not over-glorifying it.
No.
Like a lot of military movies. I mean,
if anything, it showed the realist, because I've heard that when our soldiers got sent over to Vietnam, a lot of them got hooked on heroin and morphine.
Oh,
And-
yeah.
And you're right, it didn't shine that glorified light on Vietnam. Like, it kept asking that question over and over again. What was it for?
Exactly. That's what I was just about to say, too. And that's a question that's not asked a lot.
No, it's not.
Usually most patriotic movies, you know, there's no doubt of what they're fighting for or whatever. You know, they're always fighting for freedom or whatever. But this, you know, that does ask the question of two wars that you can argue that we didn't need to fight, the Vietnam War and the Iraq War.
And you know, the saddest part about that is, like, these soldiers who don't have a say. They don't have a say in where they go to war, you know, especially in the draft.
Well, especially in
they're
Vietnam,
getting spit
where
on
they were,
and thrown shit when they're coming home. You know, they're not getting the soldiers welcome home. You know, your beef is with the government. It's not with these men and women who are serving. And so it was a very difficult time for soldiers coming back home, too, man. Not only dealing with the morphine and heroin epidemic, but also having to deal with being hated by certain groups.
But what was really interesting is the take that they had on it was like these guys weren't like in the shit or whatever. I mean, they obviously saw some bad stuff happen or whatever, but they didn't go back and like they weren't traumatized by what happened. Well, they were traumatized by the mistakes that they made or whatever, by the human mistakes. It wasn't war mistakes. It was them, you know, being dumb or whatever, because they're in a crazy position where they thought they were going to die every day. And it was a thing where drugs were rampant in Vietnam. Where we're like high up commanders, you know, whatever, were letting soldiers do it and whatnot. Like they said when that scene where they were talking about going to the whorehouse, they talked about like how your commander would say, go take a couple days off or we'll go to Disneyland or whatever. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah.
It is.
But I really like that their take on it for sure.
And building the characters too, and you do that with the actors and the acting, but also in the writing as well. And I felt, as you said, there was a lot of information thrown our way, but it never felt like it was forced. It all came out organically and naturally through the storytelling in this movie.
Yeah, you never
got little things like the Brig. I was wondering what the hell the Brig was for the longest time, and they finally revealed it. You know,
me too. I thought it was gonna be something like he's at 2 years in jail.
Yeah,
I'm
2
like,
years in the Brig.
I
That's
thought it was
nuts.
gonna be something
Navy
like he
prison.
didn't. I know. Yeah.
They literally locked you up on a Navy ship in prison. That's literally what it's terrible. And military law is totally different than civilian law. Mm-hmm. I mean, you screw up military law, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, and again, that's something that I thought was going to play a way larger role in this, where I was like, oh, he's going to be like resentful that he spent 2 years, and like he went to the bar, and like Bryan Cranston didn't even realize who it was.
He didn't even recognize him. Yeah,
this is the guy that took like a dive for everyone, took 2 years, ruined his Navy career, or his he was a medic or a doctor or whatever. Mm-hmm. Whatever he was. But
and he took the fall for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, because and he had a I'm sure he was an officer to be a medic or whatever. But he ended up working in a Navy exchange store,
Yes.
a Navy surplus store. It totally ruined his career, but that's something that they didn't get into a lot. What do you think about it, Michael?
Well, it's definitely well written, and the dialogue was amazing. But, I mean, it was good, but it was depressing as fuck. They did not shy away from anything. Like, well, we should probably actually say what the plot of it is. So it's set in 2003, and
Yeah,
2 years after 9/11.
Yeah.
That's important.
And Carell's character has gotten word that his son was killed in Iraq, and he has to go pick up his body. And he asked two of his buddies that he hasn't seen in years that were serving with him in Nam.
Well, he wasn't originally going to even pick up the body. He was supposed to get a hero's burial in
Yeah.
Arlington.
Yeah.
Yeah, they asked.
Virginia.
Yeah, that's true. Which never really went into. Did it tell why he wanted them to come with him, or did he
Yeah,
just
because they
need
were
it?
the two that served,
Yeah.
and his wife died in January
Yeah, he
the
just
previous
needed
year
company.
as well, and he had no one left.
And you remember when like they're in his house or whatever, and he says, "You got friends here, close friends?" He's like, "Not many friends, not many close ones either." So like, that kind of answered the question, because I was thinking too, I'm like, why would he come get these guys when one of the guys didn't remember who he was?
Right.
Like Bryan Cranston had no idea, but
Just all
but it
he
made
could-
sense. It was kind of the only person, or he was
all
the
he
only
could
person he
think
knew of. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only people that kind of could relate or whatever to seeing someone die in the service or whatnot. But yeah, I was confused by that too at the start.
Which a father burying his son is dark enough, but then it takes it to a whole new level when they go to get the body or see the body.
Yeah, it really, well, that part surprised me, but the part that really surprised me is them telling them how he died and whatnot, where he didn't die in like a heroic way at all or whatever.
Like they were trying to portray, the military was trying to falsify the story to make him look like really good and look like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that
that's
the military,
kinda
that's the
that's the thing that they
over-glorifying,
do,
where
yeah,
they over-glorify where everyone that died, whatnot. And even, like, it was kind of foreshadowing when they go into Hightower, their buddy,
Yeah.
where it was the same thing. They told his mom that he saved a bunch of people or whatever, when really he just died
When he
because
just
they were
died.
messing around and whatnot. But yeah, that was really surprising. And that's what this movie did, was surprising, because it did take another take where his son wasn't a hero. He died going to buy pop
Right.
Cokes for
He
everyone.
just got blasted
and
in
he
the
just
back
got
of
shot.
the head.
That something that could have happened here in the States.
In the
or what-
States, yeah.
But then they told him that, what did they tell him? That he got ambushed.
Yep.
Or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
They lied about it.
Yeah, which is crazy. Crazy.
And you
to
know,
me.
I mean, I see both sides of that coin too, because at the same time, you know, your son just died. Mm-hmm. That's a tough pill to swallow, to realize that he didn't die fighting he didn't die a quote unquote hero's death. You know, guns ablazing, fire in the background. He just saved 10 men. You know, like they say that they do.
Yeah.
Instead, it was a random act of violence that ended your son's life prematurely. You know, they could have happened anywhere, realistically.
Yeah.
Anywhere. And that's a very tough pill to swallow when you look at it from the bigger picture. So I understand. I think that's the conflict in this movie too, a lot of that, where it's like you see both sides, but at the same time, you should tell the truth. You should really tell these people, even though it's a tough pill to swallow, like, these are the parents of the of the fallen, and you need to tell them the truth.
The movie shows both sides.
It
'cause
does.
They go to confront the mother of the guy who died on their watch to tell her the truth, and then they end up not telling her because
even back in Vietnam times, they were lying about how they died. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And it
they
was
said that they saved 4 guys.
And it was a thing, yeah. And just like you
That was
saw
that was a big character development in Bryan Cranston's character too, because before then, remember, and I love the Fishburne and Cranston kind of like devil and angel on his
Yeah.
side. And you really saw that when they were in Arlington, where it's like, oh, you don't want to see the body. Oh, yeah, you do. If it were me, I would want to see the body.
Yeah.
They kind of played the angel and the devil, and I loved that writing.
They did where it was where they were kind of, you know, those polar opposites, but it wasn't where like Lawrence Fishburne was perfect or whatever. And
No,
Cranston
not
was
either.
pure evil.
No.
Yeah, and that's what I like, that they kept that, you know, realistic or whatever.
Oh, there's a human element to
yeah,
it.
and how Lawrence Fishburne, how he kind of, you know, Lawrence Fishburne, how he kind of like, how he kind of forced himself to forget about, you know, the guy who died
events,
or whatever, and how Bryan Cranston never forgot about it or whatever, and how they even talk about how Lawrence Fishburne found God and how Bryan Cranston's character found alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
and I love how Bryan Cranston, to go back to one of the first scenes, because this is one of my more favorite scenes of this, and actually more lighthearted, when the first time when they go and get Mueller the Mauler, remember, and they find out that he's a priest and that he's married and has a good life and has a congregation, and they're at the house. And they're talking, and then his wife goes and calls him away. And then he finally goes onto the trip. And Bryan Cranston's character, Sal, he's just nagging at him, you know, trying to just get him to get pissed off. And finally he loses his shit, and he goes, I got a fucking congregation to go back to. You better slow this car down, dude. It was so funny. That was one of my more favorite. But again, like, you talk about a really depressing topic, and the way Richard Linklater throws in this humor in the film too, and I thought it was a really good balance. I mean, overall the film was somber, but there were these human elements and this humor where you could find funny moments even in the worst possible situation, you know?
Yeah.
I love these human element movies.
Yeah, it was a great mix of comedy and depressing,
Drama,
which you really got to, you know, tiptoe through if you're going to do something like this.
Oh, for sure.
Something that
and
does...
a topic so...
And when you're facing a topic a lot differently than a lot of other people have before with questioning that. But that, we go back to the scene where he goes to get his son's body. That scene was a big turning point of him learning the real truth or whatever, because that scene was when he like stopped trusting the government or the military, whatever.
Yeah, he didn't want anything to do with him anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And it ended up, you know, kind of foreshadowing what his son wanted, and that kind of was all the steps of him being buried at his home or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that...
I love that scene with Steve Carell too, when they're talking to the Marine and they get to see Doc in the movie, but they open the casket.
Yeah.
And he sees his son. Like, that acting was just spot on.
Where his son...
Spot on.
Yeah, where his son didn't... He said he didn't have a face anymore or whatnot, but...
he was just traumatized by it. I mean, as any parent would be.
And then right after, they tell him that his son didn't really die how he died or whatever, which that colonel was a dick.
Yeah, he was an asshole.
God,
and I love how Cranston was like, I would have fragged you in Vietnam. Yeah, that's the shit they did over there too, man.
Yeah.
Some guys would go crazy. That's what they do. They'd frag them.
But that guy
That's well known and documented.
That guy was just trying to save face for everything. But again, you know, was a whole thing of everyone that died over there was a hero. That's what you got to keep telling the American people or whatever. You can't tell them that people are dying over there for nothing.
When they'd even talked about the blackout that the military did in 2003, where you weren't allowed to take pictures of the coffin or anything.
Yeah.
The family wasn't allowed to. And they brought that up briefly too.
Yeah.
So it did show, you know, the dark side of this.
It did. It was a crazy time.
It was.
And it was kind of a cool time because that's a time where, even though I was young, I remember that time. I remember the 9/11 and how scared. And they did a good job with kind of doing the Homeland Security thing where, like, they took Lawrence Fishburne, because that's how everyone was. Everyone was on fucking pins and needles. Everyone was being pulled off planes. It was a crazy, crazy time. Because before that, you know, you could just walk through security, your gun in your pocket, or on a plane or whatever, and then it completely changed.
Everything changed after that moment. And I like when the Homeland Security guy comes up to him, and because obviously, you know, Fishburne has dark skin, and he comes up to him and goes, "Oh, you're reading the enemy's book, huh?" He's like, "I'm reading the Bible."
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm a priest."
Yeah.
So what are you doing? But he thought he was a terrorist. He thought he was a Muslim.
Yeah, what he called him, because he thought his name was
I'm not associating
Mala.
those two, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, Mala, yeah. But, that, I don't know. That colonel was a dick.
Yeah.
That's all I keep thinking about. But, what an asshole. Any other scenes you guys liked? Enjoyed? One of my favorite scenes, I guess we'll just kind of skip around, but I really like the scene where Fishburne and Cranston get back in uniform or whatever, the Marines, where they go to. I really like that. Which I thought that scene even could have been the ending. They could have ended it right there, and I would have been fine with them giving the flag to Steve Carell or whatnot.
Doc.
Yeah, but I will say the ending that actually happened, I needed to see that. After this whole thing, him opening the letter of his son, and
that's what got me. That's when I started crying, bro. And I was trying to hold it back, man. I was gritting my teeth. I was like, I'm not gonna cry in this movie, and I did, like a little baby. But no, man, that hit me too, because he did and you could just see the relief on his face that he did exactly what his son wanted. He wanted to be buried right next to his mother, and he wanted to be buried in his blues
uniform,
in his uniform,
which Carell was not gonna do until like the night or day of the funeral, right?
Yep. And you actually thought that wasn't gonna happen because that jackass sergeant was yelling at his partner. The other Marine there, freaking out, being like, "Under no condition he will not be buried in some stupid grad outfit. He will be buried like a Marine."
That's one scene that I thought was ridiculous. That scene where he was yelling at him, where he was like, "Kill first," and I'm like, that's the scene where I'm like, "Do you want?" That's the scene where I thought, oh, like this is gonna be like the main conflict. Where it just seemed like they tried to force that conflict in. Where I thought it was gonna be a big deal with like that colonel was gonna keep trying to get him back, and now I thought he was gonna have that guy like sabotage it.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. And he was gonna like have a moment of realization. What should he do?
Yeah, and exactly. Yeah. That's what I thought too. Because I thought they could have just left that scene out, because I thought that scene, and even when he brings up the blues, I thought, oh, well, here he goes. This guy's going to keep trying. Because he's like, why don't you just wear him his blues? And I'm like, well, I was thinking like, he's going to keep him. And like, oh, why don't you just bury him in Arlington now or whatever? And I thought he was going to, but it doesn't, it stopped right there or whatever. Like that next scene, they were in the cemetery burying him like by his mom or whatever. Yeah, that scene was weird to me. I mean, he really did not want that guy buried in.
No, he did not. No.
He wanted him to kill Bryan Cranston.
I like how we keep bouncing that between depressing and funny. So I'm going to go back to funny. That train scene, to bring up that train scene, I've never seen Steve Carell laugh so hard when they were talking about the penis, and he was like, I'm just imagining the penis handing you the towel. That was the funniest thing, dude. And you could just tell it was all genuine and real humor. Like those guys were just having a ball doing that.
Yeah.
Bryan Cranston's hilarious.
He is fantastic in this movie.
He's so funny. People forget that he started out Malcolm in the Middle, where he was just the funniest goddamn character. People always forget because he's such a good dramatic.
Yeah.
And he had where I thought his character was going is I thought at some point he was going to hit like a low or whatever, and they're going to find out that he was like a really bad alcoholic or whatever. Right. But again, in Richard Linklater movies, which I didn't know until the end that this was one of them, those tropes, whatever, he kind of throws out the window. And
I love that.
These people are a lot more realistic than they are. They don't have these crazy highs or whatever. But I thought the whole thing was he was like gonna keep trying to get them to like stick around because he had friends for the first time or whatever, which he kind of was, but he never took it to the part where I thought he was gonna like start sabotaging the plan.
Well, at one point I thought he was gonna steal the envelope full of money.
Yeah,
towards the beginning.
And I thought that was gonna pop up like Steve Carell stole that money or something, because that was before that you didn't know why he was in the Brig or whatever. Yeah. And he like pulled out like this huge wad of money. What did he say? They like took up a donation.
Yeah, they took up
I thought for sure it was gonna be like he was selling crack or something that he stole that money and he was like on the run or something, but. No, none of those surprises.
Nope, nothing.
No surprises at all, for sure. Wherever you thought this movie was going, it did not go. It was just very, very simple, really simple concept, but it was well executed.
Very well executed.
Like I said, I just putting these three guys in a room together, I'll watch it. I'll be fine with it.
Yeah.
Lawrence Fishburne, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, I thought the acting in this was some of the best I've seen, and they really grasped and understood the characters too. And obviously they're all professionals; they know what they're doing. But it really told a story. I did enjoy this movie, and it had me laughing at parts. It had me crying at parts. Yeah, whirlwind of emotions.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster.
It is.
It is.
Well, should we give our ratings?
Yeah, we should.
All right, you can go first this time.
Okay.
This is your pick, and you cried, you laughed.
I laughed. Yeah, I kind of just gave my review right there. But, as far as performance-wise, this was some of the best acting I've seen in a movie. And I don't know if that's me being biased towards the actual plot of this movie, but I just felt like I was engrossed in the story. I was never taken out like, oh, this is Bryan Cranston. Oh, this is, Steve Carell or Lawrence Fishburne. I never was taken out. I truly believed every character in this movie. I believe the storyline, and it hits on a very sensitive topic in American history. This is right after 9/11. Everyone, as we said before, is on pins and needles, and they showed that in this movie with the U-Haul scene and Homeland Security. I think they just hit up on everything and really made you feel like we were living in 2003 when we watched this movie. And we got to see the sad and depressing side of sending our young men to war and not really knowing who or what we're fighting.
But cell phones.
Cell phones. The cell phone scene.
I like that scene a lot.
Great scenes.
So funny.
Because
I wrote that on my notes too, and I didn't bring that up.
I remember that. I remember when my parents first got a cell phone, and they weren't 100% sure on how it worked. It was such a foreign and
it was like, oh, so we can talk to each other for free.
Yeah.
And Cranston's like, who in the hell is going to talk more than 500 minutes on a cell phone per month?
I know, and it was so funny because
So
that was a time where you could go in and buy 3 cell phones for $100
bucks
or whatever.
Yeah.
Buy your friend a set of phones. Like Bryan Cranston just bought 3 phones or whatever. Now you would just spend.
Oh God, you spend $100 a line these days.
Yeah, for sure.
Between the phone, renting the phone, the service fees, this and that.
But we didn't talk about that a lot. But they did 2003 really well. They
Very
got
well.
Yeah, and I was looking the whole movie. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to catch them in something.
Yeah, especially New York 2003.
Yeah,
that's a crazy time.
It was. Yeah. It was.
But back to your
right. I just a story in general. It really engrossed me. I love this movie. I'm probably much higher than you guys, but as far as a drama film, I think this movie is. I look at movies too, and what is the value of this movie? What is the purpose of watching this movie? And I really felt there was a purpose, and I do think people need to watch this because you need to see 2 sides of the coin. You need to understand what happens to these families, what happens over there, and not, unfortunately, as much as we'd like to say everyone dies a hero, not everyone dies a hero. It doesn't not make them not heroes, but not everyone gets a glorified death. Like in war, sometimes shitty things happen. These situations happen. Mm-hmm. And I thought this was a movie and a story that needed to be told. I just really love this movie. I gave this a 93%.
Wow.
Very, very high for me.
That is high.
Way higher than you guys. I already know it. But look, I'm a sucker for military movies, and on a different spin, yeah. Anyway.
All right, Michael.
I'll go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Pretty much talked about all the highlights of the movie, but the dialogue was big for me. It was very important to me that they sprinkled in the humor parts because it was very, very dark and depressing. Without those, it would have been just horrible to watch that for 2 hours without any kind of hope. But yeah, like you said, this isn't like a popular thing to make a movie on, but I feel like it definitely needed to be made. And especially in today's time, people need to watch this and just get some perspective from different points of view.
Because our country is still so bipolar.
Yeah, and just remember that, like, not to put any hate towards the kids that are getting sent over there. They made the choice, yes, but they're just kids and they're doing what they're told and
they're serving their country. Yeah. It's just.
And this resonated with me big time because I had an uncle that went over there in this, and he's back, thankfully, but he's seen some shit and went through some shit for sure. So that's definitely one of the reasons why it got emotional for me towards the end. But yeah, I gave it an 85, which is decent. And I mean, this movie's on Amazon Prime for free, so I think everybody should check this out. But be prepared, because it's a ride of ups and downs the whole way through.
Yeah.
All right, we'll all go. But like I said, I was surprised about this movie. It's definitely a different take on patriotism and what it means to be a patriot and whatnot. I'm not a big current war guy. I don't really like war movies that take place now, because I think they do glorify it a lot, and I think people do see it. I think kids do see it and go and want to be that hero or whatever.
Yes,
and
for sure.
And
it made me feel like that as a young kid, watching Saving Private Ryan.
And I don't,
stuff.
Well,
which that's for a good cause. Don't get me wrong, the Nazis, but maybe not the best. Black Hawk Down. There.
And watching Saving Private Ryan, though, I mean, you're not gonna go back in time and kill Nazis or whatever. It didn't.
But it made me want to serve. It made me be a patriot.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I like movies
maybe not
like that.
Saving Private Ryan. Not a good choice.
I'm talking movies like that Sniper movie with Bradley Cooper and whatnot. Movies like that
Shooter. Not that one, but Shooter's another one.
American Sniper.
Sniper.
I think movies like that really do glorify it and whatnot, what it means. And this movie did a good job of showing that these are kids that go over there, and they are kids that get killed in non-glorified situations. People get killed all the time by just stupid shit, IEDs, stuff like that. But on accident, people get shot in the back all the time by their own people and whatnot. This movie did do a really good job of that, and I thought they did do a really good job of showing 2003 and what it was like to be in America at that time, where everyone was very on edge, because that was after a time where, I don't know, Americans thought they were untouchable. We've never had a situation like that where someone did come over and killed people on our home turf. But yeah, and this movie, and like I said, I really enjoyed the ride of those three guys going on a road trip. I just really enjoyed that. At times, I wasn't sure where it was going, because at times it was very dark, and then it was really lighthearted. But I really enjoyed the ride, and I gave it an 82. It's pretty good. I was surprised, though.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. And like you said, great acting.
Oh,
yes.
phenomenal acting.
Really great acting.
And
that's a big part of this.
Cranston almost didn't take the role because of scheduling stuff, but he read the plot and seeing who else was signed on, and he's like, I have to do it.
Yeah, which is good, because I think this movie could, well, not knowing he was Richard Linklater, but I think this movie could have easily been a cheesy kind of,
or even bland.
Very bland. And that's kind of what I thought before watching that this might be a little boring or whatever, but it wasn't that. It was very realistic.
Yeah.
Well, all right. If you want to be fucking depressed, watch this movie.
Yeah.
Well, watch this and then watch something good, funny, so that
if you want to watch a good movie, watch this movie.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Movies are sad. Life is sad.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. You can't hide. You can't just watch Fast and the Furious all the time, Michael.
Yeah.
I don't watch it all the time.
Well, you can.
3 days a week.
Just watch this movie.
I need a palate cleanser. I need to go home and watch Too Fast, Too Furious.
There you go.
This.
Yeah, seriously.
A movie you don't have to think
palate
about.
Cleanser. For sure.
Yep. Well, all right.
Alrighty. Well,
yeah.
until next time.
Bye.